So when I was in college, my brother had a canoe. And I went to college in Valley City.
It sounds like the beginning of a joke. So two guys with a canoe going to a bar.
So, well, it wasn't a bar, actually.
Okay, sorry.
So I asked him, I said, hey, can I borrow your canoe?
Yeah.
Because there's a little river that goes through the city, and it'd be fun to do a little urban canoeing, right?
Through Devil's Lake,
Through Valley
North
City.
Dakota.
Right. No, there's no water in Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Okay.
It's
Valley City,
it's
North
like a
Dakota.
desert. So Valley City, North Dakota, yeah, down in the valley, little river, goes through town. It'd be kind of funny. He's like, sure, you can borrow it. He says, but just don't put the ropes in the water. I'm like, oh, no problem.
There's ropes in the canoe?
Yeah, they're attached to the front and the back, so you can lift it and put it in the water
for mooring it.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
For, what did you say?
Mooring it to the side, or for portaging it.
Yes, you know much more
I know
about
because
this.
I'm an American Indian, and I've been creating and building my own canoes, mooring and portaging them for years.
Well, you're a yeoman, aren't you? Isn't that on your resume somewhere?
I don't know.
Yeoman?
Probably more of a seaman, but
so
anyway,
here we are. We're out there, we're canoeing, it's really great. And some photographer sees us and it's like, oh, hey, can I get your picture? We're like, sure. So we're paddling along there. Click, 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 click. Next thing we know, the newspaper comes out, and who's on the front page? Myself and my good friend Francisco in our canoe, enjoying the beautiful weather, canoeing on the river through town. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I said to my brother, I go, hey, did you see my picture in your canoe? And he looked at the picture and he went, the ropes are in the water. I told you not to put the ropes on the water. Jeez, can't you listen? And I'm like, oh.
That's all he was worried about was the ropes in the water?
And I'm like, I'm so busted.
You made the front page of the Valley City newspaper. You were a star for a moment. Wow. in the metropolitan newspaper of Valley City.
Yeah, I was the star canoeer through town with the ropes in the water.
Did they put your name on it as well?
Oh yeah.
So after they saw that, didn't people say, "Hey, canoe boy,
canoe guy"? Yeah, I became known as canoe boy.
Did you really?
Yeah, in fact, I have to go back for a parade every year, where I am I'm canoe boy and I wave. Big things like that don't happen that often in Valley City.
Well, that was a fun little accident. How old were you?
Make an impression. I don't know. I was like 23. I think.
23.
Yeah.
So have you
lad.
Have you ever gotten any press for your business? I mean, because business press, DJ press, for what you do for a living is amazing. Yeah. I wish have you ever? I mean, I've gotten some, but by the way, welcome to the Bill and Jason Show. I'm Bill Hermann. That's Jason Jones. Thanks for being a part of this and watching the show.
And today we're talking about press.
Yes, press, and I want to know.
Call the presses.
You've gotten press for your business. I've gotten press for my business.
You've gotten press for my business. Thank you very much.
Well, and regularly I see people struggling or say to themselves, "I wish I have to buy advertising. I wish I could just get press. I wish I could just get press. Can I just get press?"
Or just treat it like, oh, you got to be really good to get written up in the newspaper. Mm-hmm. Poppycock.
Well, number one, use strange, old, outdated words. That might keep some poppycock.
You knew what I meant, right? That's silly. That's absurd. You do not have to be the best to get press. You have to know how to get yourself press.
Right. And it has to, and if you can wait for it to happen by accident. And it only happens by accident.
Sometimes it does.
Right.
And sometimes you'll be included, but oftentimes, like the DJ, even if you're part of a big event that's getting press, they don't go, let's go talk to the DJ.
Right. Or you might not even get a mention. They might even not even mention that you were there because you haven't made yourself aware. You haven't. Finding press is a thing you need to do on purpose. Mm-hmm. Creating press for yourself is something you need to do on purpose. And there are specific things you can go about doing to make sure that it happens, right?
Well, I mean, think about the business you're in mm-hmm. and the expertise that you have to mm-hmm. offer that would be really interesting. Okay, and especially thinking about being a guest on a talk show. I mean, weddings is a big hot topic for everybody around the wedding season, which is around January.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of them. There's one in the summer. For press just before June. They want to talk about weddings, and then they want to talk to them, like you said, between that time of November and after January, where a lot of those engagements happen.
Bridal fairs. There's a lot of things going on commercially that make it a really good seasonal topic to talk about. Mm-hmm. And one of the most underreported things is wedding entertainment.
Right.
Not because there isn't really great wedding entertainment and creative things happening, it's because those people that are doing that work are not putting out press releases describing what they're doing. Are you doing something in your business? Are you doing lighting design? Is that new to the industry? Why, yes, it is. It is something that's becoming a new emerging trend and something you do and you have expertise about.
Right.
So what can you share about this new and emerging trend in lighting design that's going to be interesting to whatever publication's audience? Again, it's not the publication you're trying to get the interest of. It's like you have to look at like what would their audience be most intrigued by.
Right. And how does what you do redefine the business that you're in, or how is it affected? How is it what you do affects the daily things they talk about in the newspaper?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to press, it used to be you could create a press release like a commercial, and there were places that you could get that written about but now they're trying to find a way to make their local papers look more international by connecting what you do or what they talk about in an international way. So if you're going to talk about weddings and you want to talk about how the entertainment does something amazing for the weddings, but then the other day you heard that Prince, the Prince of Monaco, had a wedding and they had a DJ, and for a moment the Prince of Monaco DJ'd the wedding, and that's a big story going on right now. Now, how can you take that information and attach that to that story that they're all talking about, so that they can say, and in a local way,
right?
Let me talk, because they all want to go local
in a related story.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That relates it to like your life locally now, and they will go to the most amazing extents to do this.
They really will.
Like case in point, Shark Week.
Oh my
they
gosh.
used to do local angles on Shark Week with things to do with the lakes around.
If any
around
of you find a
the
way
state, which is
to
like, are you
connect to
serious?
DJing to Shark Week, we want to hear about it.
We're going to give you a trophy.
That's amazing if you can do that. I mean,
yeah.
That and they're looking closely for those things because they want to talk locally. They want to talk about interest, because DJing and performance, weddings, they're interesting no matter what. They want to talk about it, but what they don't want to give away is free advertising. So you write a press release that says, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm the greatest, and I'm running a special, and that just, they're going to send a salesperson. They're going to give that press release to a salesperson, and that person's going to call you, and they're going to try to sell you. That's how you're going to get in a newspaper. Or you're going to write an article that shows expertise around the things that they want to talk about at the time. And if you look carefully at the press, at television, almost specifically television, but also talk radio, there is a season to every conversation. If you notice, every year they're talking about the same things at the same time, every single solitary year. So
sure.
Figure out your year. Figure out when the state fair is going to happen. Figure out when the Renaissance Festival is going to happen. Think about when Black Friday is going to happen and why what you do helps make it better or worse.
Or what angle do you have that's related to your business and your expertise that you can provide.
Right, and then you create this press release. Now, the press release itself is it's basic. I mean, it's got to be simple. It's got to be compelling. It has to speak to the things we're talking about. But now that you have it, you've got to get those press releases to the right people.
Sure, and it's less about like the structure of the press release, and it's really more about more about having a compelling story.
Right.
Okay. So here's what you don't do. Let's say you've got a compelling story.
Right.
Bill. I was going to say you started wearing a powder blue tux.
I did.
Press release, and ruffles, and
I did it for my sister,
bringing sexy back,
who fought breast cancer, and that's why I wear the powder blue in honor of my sister.
Great story.
Okay.
All right. So now, what normally people would do they would like put all their energy into writing this really great press release, and then they would email it to everybody around town. And where most of those emails go is in the pile with all the others. Somebody might see it.
Delete.
Well, they may not even delete it. They might not even see it.
Right.
Like there's no like think of your own email. Like, okay, you have a field of view, and usually it's like the most recent 10, and you're like delete all the stuff that comes in.
Right.
They do the same thing. Okay, where they have very little time. They're always pressed for time. There's fewer resources. They have less time to do their work and do their job, because that's what's happened to media now.
Right.
Much less. And so what you want to do is you want to call them, because it's about having the relationship with them that'll have them think to call you and say, hey, I want to do something wedding, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something entertainment-wise. Can you think of anything? And then the two of you are coming up with stuff together to put you on to talk about with your expertise, and you're helping them talk about you and what you know the most about and the resource that you
Well,
can.
and I go
you
one
can
step
be. Joe
even-
Bunn tells a story about how he did this with a local television news station.
Okay.
And every year they call him up to say, "Oh, Joe, okay, we want to do a thing. What should we do?" And they come up with something together because he has that relationship, and it's that relationship that's going to create that.
And it's creating that relationship that's really important, and don't just go after one TV station or one media outlet. We need to go to them all. And I don't even start just on the phone. I start actually with hand delivering these written press releases to and attentioning them to the people that are going to be most interested in them. In other words, in a television station, there's tons of producers, and then there's producers of those producers, and then there's the main editor of the entire show. So who do you get that press release? The main editor he's not even looking at press releases anymore. But the guy who does the lifestyle stories, the person who does the wedding stories, find out who that is. And it's not that tough to call the TV station and say, okay, I've got a story and I want to talk to the editor that would speak about weddings. Oh, well, that would be Mary Johnson. Okay, well then Mary Johnson is the person you're going to get that press release to. I drive right to the station. I walk right in there. I have a letter with a big name, "Attention Mary Johnson." And I might do that 3 or 4 times over a month at every single radio station. And then I would be calling them, "Hey, did you get that thing I dropped off for you? Because now I would go to where you are."
Well, can I make
that
a
relationship
suggestion?
starts. Yeah.
That you call ahead before even sending it. So it's like, hey, this is me. This is why I'm calling. Here's my idea for a story.
So now why that over the other?
Because if you call ahead and they're intrigued, because what's going to have them intrigued by your story is what you share about it, not what they read, okay? So if they're intrigued by it, then they're like, yeah, send it over. Now they're looking for it. Now they're looking to do something with it when it gets there because it's something that they're already interested in.
Okay, so now what about when you call over and you can't get them on the phone? What if your phone call doesn't get to anything more than a voicemail?
Well, you leave a voicemail and then you call back.
Until you actually get the human being.
Yes.
And that's where you start.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, and don't be afraid. It's like, oh, I left a voicemail yesterday. Call back. They're used to this. This is their business, right? And so be unreasonable. Just get them on the phone. It's not pestering. That's the world they live in, is they are constantly having information and having to sort it out and figure out what's good and what's not. Now, what happens, Bill, if you go and you go, here's my idea, and they go, no, I don't think our audience is really interested in that.
No,
what do you do then?
I go home and I sit in front of the TV and
eat
I
a bag
cry,
of chips.
eat a bag of chips, and have some beer.
Right.
And I talk about how awful I am and how I'm never going to find any press.
Shaming yourself.
It's just terrible.
Start drinking heavily.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to hear it.
Really, and so this is so obvious, but yet like most people like never even think to say. So what do you think they would be interested in?
So you ask him that.
You ask. Yeah. You say, so, what kind of topics are you looking for right now? I mean, what is interesting to you right now? And they might go like, oh, well, we noticed that like making the hokey pokey into EDM seems to be a crazy thing. You're like, no kidding.
I've been doing that for years.
I know something about creating hokey pokey EDM tracks. And they're like, really? Yeah. And you're local. Well, we're on to something. You just don't know what's going to come out or what they're interested in. Okay.
Right.
And so
you know why that works is because they want help. Okay, with the 24-hour news cycle going on right now, and they have their reporters that are working on specific things. They've asked their reporters for the exact thing that you've just found out. Yeah. And if you can show up with it and making their job easier, once again, relationship building is about helping someone get what they want. Okay, and making a producer's job easier on television or radio when that's a hard job anyway. Right. You give them exactly what they want. They're excited about it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue into like what does it look like to make it easy for them.
Right.
So when it's TV, like cut together some great video of you, your work, whatever it is topic you're talking about, whether it's lighting, decor, whatever, wherever you're going with it, put together some really great high definition B-roll. We don't have to worry about like, oh, is it broadcast grade? Because everything's broadcast grade.
How long it is, because you really don't need more than 30 seconds.
You can shoot it on your phone, but you give them things to work with. In other words, you're making it really easy for them. Like, we don't have a kicker for the end of the broadcast. Let's use this. We got footage.
Right.
And TV is all about visuals. If they got visuals, oh boy, that just kicks it up a notch. Even though another story might have been better.
Right. You can even tell them what they should say during the B-roll. More than likely, they'll use it.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard job. And if they have something that fits with the video you gave, and they well, that's pretty good. I aren't going to write anything. Boom. You just got exactly what you need said on television.
Yeah.
Just be careful not to be writing what needs to be said in the middle of it, put a little 20-second commercial about your business, because then you're going to be like, oh man.
And that's
really?
You don't need to.
No,
you don't need to. Because they're
really
like,
don't.
oh, hey, you're the guy that was on TV.
Right.
People, you kind of establish this whole different recognition. You don't have to worry about like, oh, but will they know it's my company and everything I offer? Yes. They will. They will know all of that.
Absolutely.
Because you'll be a person of interest.
So of all these things, which one do you think is the top 3 tips that people could start working on right now?
Top 3 tips are make a list of all the ideas of your expertise that you could share that your brides would be interested in learning. In other words, your knowledge that they're interested in.
Number 2.
Number 2 is find on I would say look online for formats to format your press release, but that isn't even as important because you could just send over a document with paragraphs without the press release format, all that stuff.
Short, sweet, compelling in the first 3 lines.
They don't care. They don't care, right? You want to get the who, what, where, why, how, and why it matters in the first paragraph.
Right. And the first sentence should be, why is it sexy?
Exactly.
Right.
And because where's that little blue thing, isn't it? The other thing is call them. Relationships are what creates publicity.
Right.
It's totally the relationship that you form, and you are not a pest. You're a resource.
Absolutely. We want to know about your publicity. Have you gotten any? Have you gotten some by accident? Have you gotten some on purpose? Are you good at this? We want to know, okay? Write it in the comments below. Send us a message. We'd like to know more about the successes or failures or the struggles you have in trying to get press with that stuff. So get a hold of us. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, go BillandJasonShow.com and sign up for the podcast, because every week we'll send out a notification when there's a new show. And then Facebook and Twitter and like us all, and then tell everybody about it, because right now we want to get past that 14-person amount of people that are watching.
And check out some of the other great shows here on DJ and TV. From Bill and Jason Show, so long.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.